From the previous lesson, I stated that cultural practices are in 3 stages. There is pre-planting operation, planting operation, and post-planting operations. Post-planting operations are operations carried out in the farm, or the activities carried out in the farm after planting has been done. They are those that involve maintaining the crop till maturity. In this lesson, we'll be discussing the meaning of post-planting operation, the examples of post-planting operations such as thinning, mulching, supplying, manure and fertilizer application, the likes of watering, weeding, pest and disease control, harvesting, farm level processing, and storage. Now, starting with thinning. Thinning is the reduction of the number of stands per plant. This is particularly carried out to prevent overpopulation. Plants are removed from a stand that is overcrowded and then planted on a different spot. This is done, like I said earlier, to avoid overpopulation or overcrowding. Thinning should be done when the soil is moist. The weakest part of the plant are the ones that should be removed, and care should be taken not to damage the remaining parts while carrying out thinning. This is to ensure proper consolidation and to encourage adequate survival of the remaining plants. Supplying, which is very similar to thinning. In supplying, the farmer replaced the stand that did not germinate. That is, spots in the farmland that refuse to germinate. The farmer carries seedlings and replace those spots or replant them with new seed. That is supplying. When a farmer supplies the feed, it means he plants the spot or he replants the spots that refuse to germinate. That is supplying. Removal of excess stand is thinning. Another post-planting operation is manure and fertilizer application. Manure are the waste products or the remains of organic matter. They are gotten from plants or animals. Manures are usually applied to enhance good productivity as they are rich in nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. Now this, when applied to the farm adequately, ensures good productivity of the crops. The manure should be well cured, that is, well decayed, before applying to the farmland to avoid root burns of the crops. Also, manures should be applied at the right time, probably 2 weeks after planting in the case of maize, and few weeks before tasseling. Manure should be applied at the right time in the crop lifespan. Apart from manure, there are equally inorganic fertilizers that can be used, that is synthesized fertilizer. They should also be applied at the appropriate time, and distance should be kept between them and the crop to also avoid the burn of the roots of the crops. Another post-planting operation is irrigation or watering. This is the artificial application of water to supplement the rainfall that is available to the crops. In some farms, this is the only source of water supply. Irrigation is useful to ensure good productivity and good growth of the crops. In small-scale farms, watering can be used. In large-scale farms, however, irrigation systems such as this can be applied to ensure easy application of the water to the farm. Irrigation is particularly practiced in large farms and especially during dry season, because during this time rainfall is no longer available to the crops, and as such there is need for artificial application of water for the crops to grow. Another post-planting operation is mulching. This is simply the act of covering the surface of the soil to prevent the growth of weed. Weeds dry grasses or chopped pieces of woods. Dry grasses or sawdust or wood that has been chopped into pieces, they are used to cover the surface of the soil. This is done to discourage the growth of weeds. Weeds are undesirable plants growing in the field where crops are planted. When chopped pieces of woods or grasses, dry grasses, are used to cover the surface of the soil, it prevents the growth of these weeds. Aside using chopped pieces of grasses, plastic material such as nylon bags like this can equally be used. The spots where crops will be planted are covered with plastic material. Weeds cannot grow around such location, and the crops can be planted after a hole is drilled through the polythene bags towards the soil, such as this. This is plastic mulching. Another post-planting operation is pest and disease control. Pests and diseases are the major concerns of agricultural production, and as such, there is need for a proper plan that will put these pests and diseases in check. So pest and disease control is a vital part in post-planting operation in the field of agriculture. It can be done by spraying with chemicals such as this, using a knapsack sprayer, and if it's a really large field, machines can be applied. Another post-planting operation is weeding. Weeding is simply the removal of weeds. Weeds compete with the crops. They compete for nutrients, for space, they compete for sunlight. So there is need to remove them for proper growth of the crops. Weeding is simply the act of removing the weeds, allowing the crops to grow well and produce well. Harvesting. Another post-planting operation is the act of gathering the products of the crops for use. The act of gathering these products that are produced from the crops is known as harvesting. It can be done manually or with the use of machines such as this. In large farms especially, combined harvesters are usually used to harvest crops. In small-scale farm, however, equipment such as sickle, hoes, cutlasses are usually used to harvest. Harvesting, like I said earlier on, is the act of removing the products from the crops for consumption. For tuber crops, they remove the roots, that is the tuber. For grain crops such as maize, it is the grains that is extracted from the crop. The act of removing the products from the crop is known as harvesting. Another post-planting operation is known as farm level processing. By farm level processing, we mean those simple processing that are carried out in the farm before taken to the industry for further processing. It ranges from washing to grading, sun drying, and the likes. All these activities done in the farm that helps to turn the products into a more accepted form is known as farm level processing. After harvesting, the product is subjected to processing. For cassava, for instance, it might involve peeling, washing before taken to the industry for further processing. That peeling and washing is known as farm level processing. Processing or simple processing done in the farm to make the product a little more acceptable to the consumer is known as farm level processing. Cassavas are usually peeled in the farm before taken to the industry for processing into gari. Now, aside cassava, there are some other crops that when harvested in the farm also they can be processed to some extent before further processing in the industry. The likes of cocoa, the act of removing the cocoa beans from the pod is a form of farm level processing. They are removed from the cocoa pod before sun-dried, then they'll be taken to the industry for processing into beverages. The last post-planting operation, which is equally the last activity performed in the farm, is known as storage. Storage is the act of keeping harvested products that are not meant for immediate consumption or selling for future use, for future purpose. Products such as yam can be stored in a yam barn. Tubers in general can be stored in barns until when the price is good in the market before the farmer can decide to sell his products. Storage, I said, is the last activity in the post-planting operation. Maize cribs such as this can equally be used to store maize until when the price is equally good before the farmer can sell his products. Finally, we have come to the end of this lesson. I believe you had a nice time viewing this lesson, and if so, I will see you in my next class. Bye and have a great day.